Hey, all my fantasy football friends out there, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Multiple First Dynasty Football channel here on YouTube. This is Stosh on the Sleeper app, Tony in real life, coming at you with our first ever league breakdown. We're reviewing a whole fantasy football league today, and this is just honestly one of the coolest leagues I've ever seen. I've never seen a league like this to be able to jump into. If I did see something with these kind of settings, I'd be all over it. Yeah, we got Greg with us today. How you feeling today, Greg?
Feeling great, Tony. This is a fun concept league that we can take a quick breakdown look at.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on in this league. So the league we're looking at today is called Win Two to Get Your Due. So what we have here in the Win Two League is a $100 buy-in per season. That is an Empire League. If you're not familiar with Empire rules, what that is an accruing year-over-year pot. And most Empire leagues will have a chunk of their seasonal pot go into an Empire um, that ultimately pays out when a multi-time champion is reached. Maybe it's back-to-backs, maybe it's three of them lifetime. However you choose to allocate your Empire pot. But this league, Win 2, is super unique in that nobody's getting paid. Nobody's getting paid any money in this league until somebody wins a title twice. So that's twice lifetime. They don't have to be back to back. This league's entering its third year. The champion and second place from previous seasons are immune from the following year's dues. So you saw $1,200 go into the pot the first year, and then $1,000 the second year, and now $1,000 are going in this third season. So we have $3,200 in the pot for this league, and only two people are even eligible to win it. So massive pot accruing. If no one from those two, that pool of two teams wins it and cleans it out, then you're going to have another $1,000 go into the pot, and then it's going to keep growing. Really, really cool way to play fantasy football. What do you think of those Empire settings, Greg?
Oh, wow. It's something. I like that they give two people the immunity dues. So that's, something for winning a league. But boy, it does raise the stakes and it changes the strategy completely. Um, who you trade with. We've seen that a little bit in some of our leagues. I know you and I are in a league that we just did the startup for that has an accruing pot, and I just took down an accruing pot in one of my leagues last year for back-to-back titles. But yeah, those are just a small piece of the overall pot that accrues, right? But in this league, it really is going to completely impact your strategy. And I know when I was going for my repeat title to take down that accruing pot in the Empire League last year, people were less likely to trade with me, right? So I
Oh
can
yeah,
only imagine if you're cruising as a number one seed, looking to take down the whole pot, it's going to be really hard to get people to make win-win deals with you, because suddenly a win-win deal isn't win-win anymore if you're helping the other guy take down the entire accumulated pot. So,
yeah. And after that accumulated pot is cashed out, the league resets. The whole league starts over. It's not like you start refilling the pot and keep playing with your current roster. So, if you're trading off all your front end players to the reigning champion or someone who's already got a title under their belt, then you might just be ending the league for yourself, which is pretty scary. Um, I see in a lot of leagues the teams that get really big kind of get a trade embargo put on them, where no one wants to trade with the biggest dude, and I could see that happening in a league like this, especially once more and more teams are only one championship away. Uh, yeah, so the other really interesting wrinkle to the Win 2 league is they use the counter rule. So if you're not familiar with the counter rule, it's a new wrinkle that the community's added to their leagues on Sleeper. So What happens in the counter rule is once a trade is completed in the chat, the trade does not process instantly. The trade goes into a holding pattern for 24 hours. And while the trade is in a holding pattern, any of the other 10 members of the league can submit a counter against either side of the trade that occurred. So let's say you're sitting in your league and you see an imbalanced trade go through and you see yourself saying, hey, I'd offer you more for that side of that package. I would offer you more for that. You know, how many of us have thought that when you've seen a trade complete? Hey, I would have offered him more for that side. Well, with the counter rule
Mm-hmm.
in effect, you're allowed to do that. Within the first 24 hours of the trade completing, you submit your counter, and it's only a one-shot counter. It's not a negotiation. You just get to present your side of the argument. Once in chat, you can counter either side of the trade that's made, and then the person you're countering, the person you're proposing to, has the option to take your counter or just run with the trade that they had already agreed upon. So I like this a lot. I think this keeps trades from getting too far out there. It stops people from getting routed in trades so much. If a guy gets routed in a trade, then someone can come in there and offer a counter that's a bigger package than they would have otherwise received, and things get a lot more reasonable. And another thing to the counter rule is there's no DMing involved. There's a bit of an honor system in place where you're not going to DM that guy and ask him what he wants in a counter. You just put it out there. Um,
Yep.
and it's 24 hours to make a counter out of season in the off season, and 12 hours to submit your counter during the season. Have you ever played
Hmm.
with the counter rule before?
No, I'd never heard of it until this. I came across this league, and um, seems like a lot of fun. You know, it seems like it would definitely keep people honest. It keeps people from maybe spamming their worst trade offers because, like, uh, you know, that strategy of I'll throw out a million one-sided offers and maybe somebody will accept. Well, even if you get that, somebody's going to come in behind you and take more. So I think it would probably increase the liquidity of players, right? Your ability to move on from players, right? Is
Yeah.
you'd be willing to make a deal, and if you could actually get more than that, somebody will come in, right? Like you maybe you're even a little more willing to accept less than you think a player is worth if you're trying to sell that guy,
Yeah.
because if he's really worth more, maybe somebody will come in and give it to you.
Yeah, put them up for auction. I think the counter rule kind of puts that in a whole new perspective, the idea of auctioning a player. I found myself
Yep.
literally auctioning players a couple times in my leagues this offseason where I've said, hey, this guy's on the block. I'm taking the best offer in my inbox for him in the next 24 hours. Send it, because I'm hitting accept on something. This adds a little more nuance to that, a little more pressure on that.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like I'm accepting the first reasonable offer, and then we'll see in 24 hours, right?
Yep, yep, 100%. The final kind of interesting wrinkle, well, not the final, there's more cool stuff, but another cool wrinkle in this league is the consolation bracket winner. So the guy who wins all 3 rounds of consolation bracket um, gets a cool prize. They get the 113 rookie pick. So I think that's really neat. It kind of keeps everyone fighting for stuff at the end of the season. It's also a pick that's like untradeable throughout the season because it doesn't really exist until it's claimed. Um, and I don't really know how you do that in Sleeper. If someone in the league, when you watch the video, maybe let me know. But basically, yeah, they add a 113 consolation pick to whoever wins the secondary bracket, the losers bracket, if you will, and that's super neat. Yep. But let's get into some of these rankings. So we're going to talk about how we see this league, how we see each individual team, how we rank them out. We're going to just run down the roster real quick. So in no particular order, we have Chewy 55 and Joshi 5150 are the commissioners. The Hype Beast, Dream Destroyer 1, DK Knights, or maybe it's Dark Knights, JCap 86, my friend and the sponsor of the video we're making today. I am the champion, the gambler, TBG Golfin, TB Golfin, Farbecue, Thunder Colts, and the Electric Company. The 2 teams that have won titles previously, the first 2 champions, were Electric Company and I Am the Champion, the apt name for this guy. But we're going to go right down my rankings list. Me and Greg each have separate rankings. We don't have a consensus ranker on this. So we're just going to start off with my number one team as I see it in this league, and that is the current reigning champion, the Electric Company. Electric Company has Josh Allen, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, Noah Fant, Joe Mixon, Thielen, Burrow. Bench pieces: Cortland Sutton, Irv Smith, Christian Kirk, Ernest Johnson. Davis Mills down here as his QB3, and almost no 2022 picks. Actually, before we break him down, we can talk about the settings real quick. This league has some interesting scoring wrinkles to it. First of all, it's 3 RB start, and it also has a pass completions bonus, a quarterback sacked minus, a rushing first down bonus, a rushing attempts bonus. It has tiered receiver scoring, where each different tier of receivers gets a bonus, either a half point or a quarter of a point, depending. It has tiered reception bonuses, so it's full PPR, but the tight end gets a .75 kicker. So the tight ends are catching 1.75 balls. The wide receiver is catching a 1.2 ball because they have 0.2 kicker. And then the reception bonus for running back is 0.5, which seems really high. So when I look over all of these setting wrinkles and the roster wrinkles, it tells me that running backs dominate not only the scoring, but the value in this league. To trade for a running back is probably something like pulling your hair out to get someone to part with a starting tailback, because you need 3, and they score a lot more points than everybody else. But yeah, what do you think of the Electric Company, and what do you think of the scoring settings there?
So I have the Electric Company as my number one as well.
Yep.
First of all, let's look at the scoring settings. Yeah,
Sure.
so that roster setting is crazy. I also think that the PPR bonus for running backs, it's essentially since all the positions are getting a bonus, it's essentially like a 1.2 PPR, and then 0.3 on top of that for running backs, and 0.55 on top of that for tight ends. That tells me that you can play volume receiving backs, like scat backs, satellite backs.
Yeah, JD McKissick and
running
stuff.
back 3. Yep.
Yeah.
Your JD's McKissick can be rostered and can be useful in those kinds of roles. Also, both the payout schedule and the scoring and lineup system pushes you towards building through running backs, which in turn makes it hard to stay competitive, right? Because you can win your title with your running backs, and then if they age out, your win now window can close, and then it can be a while till you open it back up. I could see this league closing out this year with the Electric Company, who is also my number one team. But at the same time, if a couple of things go, funny for the next year or two, you could see this pot getting up to $8,000-9,000 as the dominant teams start aging out of their repeat window, right? And then the next group comes up. It's a thing. So looking at the Electric Company, obviously, Josh Allen and Joe Burrow.
Can't beat it. This is pretty good.
It's pretty great. Now, the thing to think, though, here is at some point somebody's going to take down this league, right? And then they're going to do a fresh startup draft, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm told.
So that limits the value of a guy like Joe Burrow, who you think that's a 15-year quarterback, but this is a 6-year, 8-year at the outside from now league, right? Like literally they've played 2 seasons. Somebody has to repeat within 13 seasons, right? So the maximum number of seasons this could last is 11 more, and very likely it will last 5 or fewer. So having these young quarterbacks is less interesting in some ways, right?
Yeah, the
Um,
value of youth is lessened for sure. Like if I'm the electric company and I know I can win a title, close the league out this year, you could move off Burrow and into like a Tom Brady and get a whole bunch on top of that trade and really not lose any points on the front end. That's a trade you might be looking to make. And the guy who has Brady probably hasn't won a title yet, so he wants someone like Burrow who he can rely on for a couple seasons. So that's presents an interesting trade dynamic for sure. But he also doesn't
so
want to work with the electric company because he doesn't want to feed him anything. So,
right,
yeah,
yes, yes. So that is the advantage. I mean, you look at the electric company, and they've got, um, Allen and Burrow and Dalvin and Allen and Burrow at quarterback, Dalvin, Kamara, Harris, and Mixon at the running back positions, and then Adams, Allen, and Evans at wide receiver with Adam Thielen. This is a team that it has a closing window at wide receiver
yeah,
and doesn't have resources to refill it. So yeah, the electric company should be going all in, and probably nobody should be adding to their stack.
yeah. No one wants to
Um,
work with him. No one. It's kind of a trade embargo against the electric company, I would imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially with the counter rule.
Hmm.
Somebody somebody needs to fall on the sword if anybody does work with him.
Yeah, and then divert whatever he got so that he doesn't just end the league. Really interesting, really involved league here, guys. I'm assuming Chewy's the main commission. I'm not sure, but good job putting this together. I would love to play in a league like
A
this.
lot of them. If I were the electric company,
Yeah.
I would be looking to handcuff some of my pieces.
Oh yeah, you need Madison and you need, I don't know, who's Josh Allen's backup? Like Case Keenum.
Like if you could, I mean, if you could handcuff Kamara, if you could handcuff Najee for free,
Yeah.
like those are things I would be looking to do, because you might not be able to go spend a future second to get a fill-in running back, which you can do in a normal dynasty league, right?
Yep.
And even those wide receivers, right? Like if you normally aren't looking to cuff wide receivers, but I'd be looking to do that. Also, I he's not going to be able to upgrade tight end, so I would be looking to add pivot options so that I could play weekly matchups. And he's a little thin there, but boy, is it a good is it a good build? All right, let's move on to the next team. Who's
Yes, sir.
second place team, Tony?
So I have the whole league tiered out. And in tier one is two teams: Electric Company and JCap. JCap's my number two team here. We're looking at Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Kittle, Patterson, Dillon, Kyler Murray, Justin Fields. He has the nice quarterback handcuff in Tyler Huntley. Very smart. Darrell Henderson, Cameron Brate. Um, not a whole lot in his taxi. And then he's got a couple decent picks: the 112 rookie, the 205 rookie, and then a handful, some sprinkles in the third through fifth rookie rounds. I like JCap's team a lot. A lot, a lot. When we're talking about there's like a rushing first down bonus in this league, a rushing attempts bonus. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is just gonna just annihilate the scoring settings. He said he scored almost 500
Yep.
points in this league last year.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
absurd. Yeah. He's good and safe. Like I'm personally scared of Kyler. That's on the record, but it's all good for JCap because he has his other quarterback handcuffed and he has Justin Fields on the side. So he's in good shape here. Um, as I look,
This
yeah,
this
yeah,
would be a great spot to go, like offer up Kyler to the I don't know, Aaron Rodgers owner for Aaron Rodgers and stuff. I
yeah,
don't know if because he is absolutely in his window.
yeah. I think he is too.
Um,
Kittle might be a sell. As I look through the settings, I feel like tight end gets kind of buried in these other settings. In a league like this, I would be trying to just kind of kick the can with tight end and stream it as much as I could and try to get as much value elsewhere. That's what I would be looking to do in a league like this. I don't know.
his streaming options too, right? He's got
Yeah,
guys like Logan Thomas and Cameron Brate, and
yeah,
you get yourself four of those and play hot hand. Yeah, he's deep at running back. He's strong at running back. He's got all these third and fourth round picks to throw darts at depth running backs. So to me, I think he should be selling everything future and young a little bit to be getting some depth. That's like I don't know that Justin Fields fits this build super well either, right? Like,
Hmm.
um, gosh, I think he might do well to move Justin Fields for. I'm trying to think of the right older piece.
Russ, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And Russ and and a thing. I don't know
Yeah.
because
Stafford in a thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because one of the things is it the odds that the electric company or JCap wins this year's title are pretty good,
Hmm.
right? Like, what do you think the odds are that one of those two teams wins it this year?
Like I would put them at like 50%. One of them wins it, and then the whole rest of the field is the other 50%. I mean, maybe even higher
Okay.
towards the two
Yeah.
team side. Yeah, like 60-40 maybe.
So if you're JCap,
Yeah.
you have to be figuring that one of two things is going to happen. Either the league's going to be over, or nobody's going to trade with you next year because
Mm.
you just want it.
That's very smart. Yeah. So you
Right.
got to
So,
get your trades in now. You got to set yourself up
yes.
now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. You gotta move some things around now that both help you win this year and set you up to win next year at the cost of 5 years from now. Like this league is unlikely to be around 5 years from now without JCap having picked up a title now, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, if I were everybody else, I would be looking to make some deals with JCap that set me up, and if I were everybody else, if I would be looking to make deals with JCap that make sure that Electric Company doesn't run to the title. The other thing about JCap, like what if Electric Company suffers three big injuries early in the season,
Hmm.
right? Like all of a sudden people aren't going to want to trade with JCap either.
Yeah. He's basically he's already won the title in essence, in theory, basically.
People are going to be yeah, right. So like if I were him, I'd be looking to set myself up. Um, there there's a lot to like about JCap's build.
Yeah, and
Um,
it'd be easy to kind of get complacent with a roster like this. I mean, he's young. I mean, Taylor Swift, Jacobs, Jefferson, Lamb, like these Lamar, like these guys are going to be around for a few years. So he might not think he has to make a trade because time is on his side. But we're sitting here telling you it might not be. You should probably get a little more aggressive as far as finding front end pieces. If you have a real opportunity to close this thing out with back to back titles, Jay, and I would be looking to act on that if I were you, and take
yeah,
down what would be almost $4,000.
yep, yep,
Yeah,
yeah, yes. Treat it like build now to win back-to-back titles is
yeah,
how I would be thinking about
100%,
it, right?
100%, yeah.
And keep everything you're thinking about as a 3-year window,
Hmm.
right? And so if guys have value because that value stretches beyond the 3-year window, I'd be trying to cash that value out.
Yeah, like if I could pivot off Jefferson into like Keenan Allen plus a bunch of juice, I would love to do that if I were Jay, you know, something like that. Because 2 years, I mean, it's 2 years. Allen's gonna be fine this year and next year. He probably falls off a cliff after that, but you know, I personally think Keenan Allen's gonna age pretty gracefully. So that's just my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. CD Lamb, like right there. Like
Yeah.
there's the player. Like if you could pivot to that's a future asset. I mean, and a current asset, right? But like, that's a team or that's a player that teams with aging assets will want to flip their aging assets for if you get the right set of aging assets that have a 2 to 3 year window, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. And he almost doesn't have that much room to get much taller. I mean, he's got Taylor Swift and Jacobs in his first three RBs. Like, it's hard to really get bigger than that. I mean, he's got Cordell Patterson and AJ Dillon in his one of his flexes, but like,
That's
yeah,
that. Well, that's where I'd want more.
yeah, you can upgrade there for sure.
But this is a complete team
Yeah, this is great. This is championship contender, a championship favorite, one of the two.
for
Um,
sure. Who's your number three?
so tier two is three teams, and at the top of that tier for me is barbecue. So what we're looking at barbecue is Trevor Lawrence, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman, Dallas Goedert, Rashad Bateman. He's got Sam Darnold in there, but Jameis Winston and Mitch Trubisky represent his other starting quarterbacks. Travis Etienne, Terrence Marshall, Elijah Moore, Fryermuth, Trey Lance. And then Barbecue is coming off of what I think is a tanking season because he's got Trey Lance in his taxi. So he's got the 101 and the 201 rookie, and then the first two picks of the third round as well. He's also got some extra 23 picks baked in. So yeah, I got him. I got him squarely in this tier two. My big note for barbecue here is there's some legit variance with his team right now. You know,
Yep.
you're talking about Lawrence and Lance, who knows what's going on with either of those guys, as far as what to expect. Big variance there. Javonte, he's got a good outlook, but he also could get gimped by a Melvin Gordon re-signing. Terry McLaurin, I mean, who knows? Everything's so shady around the whole Commanders team right now. Uh, just a lot of question marks here, but a lot of upside, but hard to really bank on any element of this team.
Yeah. So I think I had him. I had Barbecue as my number 4,
Hmm.
and excellent tank, like really well done tank.
Yeah.
Um, and to be staring at a contention window that opens now with Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne, um, and Michael Carter, and they're all kind of like. What I like about this is that all these guys are on the same window, right? So like you get a brief window to get your 2 titles, and then you have to build it back up again,
Yep.
right? And I think that's how it's got to go. And I think he's got a lot of guys who are on that correct window. Decent at tight end. Gosh, though, like the quarterbacks aren't there yet.
Hmm.
Is like part of the problem. So, um, he can't win with these quarterbacks just yet.
Maybe, and that's the thing. If Lance hits the upside we all want him to, and if Lawrence takes this big step forward, he could. I mean, right? It's a small
Yeah,
percentage
yeah.
chance, but it's possible, I suppose. Uh,
This team has that feel of the NBA team that needs to lose the finals to win the finals in 2 years.
get hungrier, yeah.
Just like that. And so, like, if I'm barbecue, um, I'm not. I view this as my window, but I think like barbecue is going to have to scrape the waiver wire well to win, and then like have some breaks fall for him, right? So he's gonna have to have breaks fall for him at quarterback. Um,
He needs
you know,
ETN to come back and be what we project him to be, that kind of thing.
yeah, and then he needs like one of Bateman or um, Quez Watkins or Elijah Moore or Terrace Marshall to be better than we think.
Yeah, and he's dropping Brees Hall into this, so it's should be pretty good there, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah. Yes, you could not justify Malik Willis 101
no,
here.
this is Brees for sure.
And it's probably Walker 2 and it might be Spiller 3, to be frank.
He's pretty tight end heavy for my taste, at least for a league like this. I mean, he's got Fryermuth, Goddard, and Knox. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, these are my 2 big notes for him is
Mhm.
like he should be moving one of these tight ends to somebody who's in a win now window.
Mhm.
And I kind of think Fryermuth might be at the top of his value. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of hype on him
Mhm.
in the fantasy world, in the dynasty world, and then also like one of Jameis and Mitch to a contending team that's light on quarterbacks, and we've seen some of these, right?
Yeah.
Like, and we've got some that we're going to talk about later,
Yep.
including I'm the champion, right?
Yeah. I
Like
am the champion would take one of these QBs off you. I'm sure. We'd find a
for
deal.
something,
Yeah.
yeah. exactly. So like I think one of those things has to be done. But like I'm not also going all in with Barbecue's roster either, because I think next year and the year after, like that's the heart of the window. Like 2023, 4, 5 is the heart of the window. This is the beginning of the window.
Yeah, you think it'd be smart for
Until
him to maybe pursue a 23 first in the deal, or you think he's a little more upfront than that?
I mean, he's a little more upfront than that,
Yeah,
right? Well, no, 23 firsts are good because they're running backs. That's a running
right.
back.
Yeah,
But like, um, gosh, I like I wouldn't even hate moving off of one of Trevor or Lance for an established quarterback. Like, like not a terribly not an old quarterback, but like
I mean, if I had the option with a team like this to send Trey Lance straight across for Russell Wilson 1-for-1, I'd probably do that.
yeah,
You
there's
know,
Wilson and Stafford are two names that keep popping into my head.
yeah,
All right. So you said that this was the first of three teams that you had on this second tier.
yeah. Tier two is barbecue, and then I have the Colts guy, Thunder Colts. Yeah, that's what it is. Thunder Colts is my second team in tier two.
Thunder Colts. I have Thunder Colts as my seventh team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's what we were going to see here is the whole middle of the pack is very, very rangy, very flexible. Um, there's a lot of room here. But so we're looking at Carson Wentz in his QB1 slot, Damian Harris, David Montgomery, Hunter Renfro, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kyle Pitts, Chase Claypool, Mac Jones, Matt Ryan. Three quarterbacks there. Khalil Herbert to handcuff his Montgomery, Russell Gage, Van Jefferson, Calvin Ridley in the IR slot. Um, and he's got some picks down here. I know it. Yeah, so dude's got some great pick quality Thunder Colts. He's got the 103, the 106, the 111, the 206. So I would say all four of those picks can be impact rookies. And then he's actually got another 23 first banked. I didn't realize this. He's got Chewy's 23 first, which is looking kind of juicy right now.
Yeah. So he's very good at wide receiver. He's solid at running back. Like he's got a little extra juice out of Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz now. Those are some other guys who he might consider moving one of them. But I don't hate holding on to both of them either. He's just a little bit off of where he needs to be. Like there's not
Yeah.
a star wide receiver. Like the biggest star player on his team is Kyle Pitts. But for a league of this format, like when is Kyle Pitts going to be the tight end one? Might it be 3 years from now? Like, is this they're
I
going
don't
to
think
go through
Mariota gets him there. I know that this year. Oh yeah,
right? Like
looking a while away.
in an Empire league where you're redrafting later, Kyle Pitts isn't the tight end one. That's Mark Andrews, right?
Yeah, yes, that's the tight end you want. But in
Right.
general, you want to fade it. Like if I could get a nice haul and move off Pitts,
Yeah.
totally do it. Totally do it. Because tight end in general, I think, is weaker in this league, and the age is less relevant. So, if I could get a 23 first plus some juice in a package, like I would definitely be open to moving Pitts.
So what I had said, my note on Thunder Colts is like Thunder Colts needs to finish rebuilding. Like this is a half rebuild, as evidenced by the fact that he's got all those picks, right? Like he's got some young players like Pitts, St. Brown, Claypool, Mac Jones, right? Like he clearly Kenneth Gainwell. So he's clearly made moves to get into a younger position,
Mhm.
and I think he needs to finish that, right? So like, I would trade MVS. I'd be looking to trade MVS for a 23 second, like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Which I would think a contending team might be willing to do, right? I'd be looking to, like you said, Pitts. Maybe even like what is Hunter Renfro worth? Can you get can you pivot younger off of Damian Harris?
Yeah,
Without
I'd be jamming Chuba down the Monty owner's throat too, or not Monty, but CMC owner's throat, and I'd be like, hey, you need this guy, even with the Foreman signing. I don't care, but I would be trying to move Hubbard to
I'd be,
that guy.
I'd be laughing at you if I was the CMC owner.
Yeah, you probably would, but
I'm all Foreman on that one. I think they just told you they don't like Hubbard. That's my take.
that's fair. What are you doing with Calvin Ridley right now? I mean, he's on this team, so we got to talk about him. What are
he's
you
worth
doing
nothing
with Ridley?
to me. He's worth nothing in this format.
Yep.
Like, but if you have not won a title, by the time you win your second title with Calvin Ridley, this league will have reset.
Yep,
like, for sure. Right. But what I'm doing with him is I don't want him, and if I have him, I'm keeping him because nobody's gonna pay for him. I can't sell him anywhere. I think I have one share left. I sold one share straight up for Mike Evans, like the day he put out.
Did you really? Oh my goodness, I'm so jealous of you. Wow, great work.
I took it out right away.
That's all.
I was like, nope,
yeah.
I want out. I want nothing to do with this. Not for one, and Mike Evans was on a rebuilding team, right? So it was like an obvious move for them too.
Yeah.
And I was like, you take all this risk, and you win big if he doesn't play again, right? Or you win big if he plays again, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the difference between a knee-jerk reaction and getting out in front of it. I mean, you're always wrestling with those two things.
I wanted out.
Yes,
like
totally agree.
Out. And everybody was assuming he'd be back next year, and like I'm not 100% sure he would have been back even if he hadn't gotten caught with the gambling suspension, right?
Yeah, we talked about that a lot, and I think I personally don't expect Calvin Ridley to ever catch an NFL pass again. That's just my take. I'm not pushing that on any of you guys, but I sold Calvin Ridley. I had 2 shares of him. I sold one for the 3.2 rookie, and I sold the other one for Terrence Marshall. That's what I got for him, and I'm not looking back. My hands are washed of Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, good for you. I love it.
Yeah, they're okay trades. I don't know, but
yep. Nope, all the way out. I mean, I have one spot where suspended can go on IR, and we have like 6 IR spots. So I'm like, I'm not trading for the 302 there. I'll just like call it a lottery ticket, but like that's it. That's all it is at this point.
Yeah, that team where I did for the 302, that's a very upfront competitive team. That's actually an Empire League where I'm poised to close the Empire pot out if I win again. So I could take that RB dart at 302 at Damian Pierce or whatever, and or Deontay Pierce, what's his name? I don't know. Guy's getting a lot of hype.
Pierce.
Yeah, he's getting some hype in the 3rd round. I kind of like him. But yeah, that's Thunder Colts. We're gonna close out Tier 2 with my last Tier 2 roster, which is.
Oh, I just want to say one last thing about Thunder Colts.
Throw it out.
Right, like my thought on Thunder Colts is like, if somebody repeats, if Electric Company repeats this season, so be it. Thunder Colts should not be trying to stop that. Thunder Colts should be planning to contend for the title in 2023.
Yeah, he should be looking for a 23-24 title combo win because he's got this Chewy first, and just jumping ahead, Chewy's one of our worst teams in the league, guys. So, he could be looking at his own middle first next year and then Chewy's high first. He can drop that into this team with another year of development for guys like Pitts and Amon-Ra and stuff, and Mack, and he can complement that with his 3 first-round picks this year. You got to sit tight with this thing, Thunder Colts. You got to chill. I would not be looking to go for the title this year. Just kind of let your team organically grow, and then you have a nice title window. Yeah.
Every move should be accompanied with a, how does this affect my 23-24 title window?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wholeheartedly, yeah.
All right, who's your team 5?
Team 5 is Golfin, TBG Golfin. So this is the guy who has the bonus pick. We talked about the consolation. He's got the 113. Roster is Dak Prescott, Devin Singletary, Darnell Mooney, Jamar Chase, Dalton Schultz, DJ Moore, Deshaun Watson owner, Marcus Mariota, some Phils, Michael Thomas, Braxton Berrios, TJ Hawkinson, James Robinson, Kadarius Toney, and then some impact rookies, the 102, the 102, the 113, the 202, and the 209. What do you think of Golfin? And where do you have him?
Golfin. I have him 6.
Yeah, close.
So you're 5, I'm 6. You got to love Watson and Dak as a quarterback stack, and you have to like chase more Mooney as a solid young wide receiver trio that keeps you. So like that set of five guys really keeps your window open. Schultz and Hawkinson really keeps your window open there too. But like the running back room is really thin. So the way golfing, I think that's, I don't know, rather be golfing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the way golfing has to win this league has to win scraping the waiver wire, right? Like,
Yeah.
like if you transpose last year's running backs into this year, like Golfin wins the league by pulling down Cordero Patterson and then being the guy who falls into like making an aggressive move on Darrell Williams, like, you know, having a gut check that Darrell Williams is just better than CEH and he's going to get a lot of run. And then Darrell Williams finishes as a running back 2 last year. And then maybe you fall into Rashad Penny down the stretch, right? Like that kind of combination is the sort of stuff that has to happen. And if he wins scraping the waiver wire at running back and gets some other things to fall, he's got a shot, right? So I do think, you know, tons of draft capital to address some of these wide receiver holes. I absolutely must use 102 on a running back.
Yeah, that's a big note of mine. Is so he's got the 102, and then Thunder Colts, our last team, is the 103, and then Hype Beast is the 104, and then whoever gets Kenneth Walker in there, it's going to be really interesting. You guys are going to be pushing and pulling for Walker because all three of those teams.
It's got to be Walker and Spiller, 2 and 3. You know, there's some upside here too. You know, you got like Kadarius Toney sitting down there in the taxi, right? So there's some upside piece. Michael Thomas, right? Michael Thomas is a league-winning upside piece out here. Trey Sermon is another guy who, right, is one of those guys who has that potential that we saw with Rashad Penny to be like worthless, and then it's like, oh, he won people leagues, right? So, Boston Scott's another one. This team needs to be stacking injury away running backs.
Yeah, he needs to be digging through the wire. I have that actually as a note I put down too. He's got to be digging through that waiver wire.
Yep, absolutely. Who do you have as your number 6 team?
Number 6. So that closes out tier 2. Tier 3 is 4 teams wide. I have the Dream Destroyer as my number 6 team.
I have the Dream Destroyer as my number 5 team.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dream Destroyer, Derek Carr, James Conner, Kareem Hunt, Jerry Jeudy, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Zach Ertz, Rondell Moore, Jalen Hurts, little Ronald Jones action, little Cole Kmet action, Leonard Fournette. And then we got the 109 and the 110 on Dream Destroyer's roster. Yep. I like this a lot. Yeah. Go ahead.
To me, this is the third most likely team to win the title this year, probably, right? Like, so
this is the dark horse title.
Maybe the fourth most likely team to win the title this year, third or fourth. So I have it 5th overall because like he doesn't have a title, and I don't know about the 2 title window, right? Like, how's he going to win 2 titles before Jalen Hurts gets replaced? That we haven't done a news show since the Eagles and Saints swapped, but like that has got to be worrying for a Jalen Hurts owner, right?
For 23, yeah. And yeah, I hear you the long-term health of Hurts.
But he's got to win 2 titles. Wait, he's got to win 2 titles, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah.
And then also Fournette and also James Conner, right? There's there's a lot of pieces, and then Diggs and Kupp.
Ertz, the clock is ticking on his team.
The clock is ticking on this team. So like, it's got to win this year and then next year. And that's how this has got to go. It like if he hasn't collected 2 titles in 2 years, like where is a Hurts, Connor, Fournette, Ertz, Cup, Diggs roster going to be? Like not in very good shape. So like this is a team to me that he's not a top tier contender. He's not a he doesn't have a young long term build.
Yep.
But like he's got a very real chance to win this title.
Yep.
And I would be pushing in on pieces that offer me a 2 to 3 year window, trading those. I would trade 109 and 110 because those are wide receiver picks, right? I don't want young wide receivers who can't contribute in the next year or two.
Yeah,
right? Like
when I'm doing mocks right now.
Williams.
Yeah,
this is not this team right here should not be adding Treylon Burks.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good take.
Or Jameson Williams. That's like a terrible use of that resource on a team that has Hurts and Connor and Fournette as 3 of the key, and Diggs and Cups, right? The Cup. That's 5 of their key 7 pieces, 8 pieces, and like that's not the way, right? Like this team needs Nick Chubb and Dalvin
Cooper
Cook
or something. Yeah, Cook, sure.
It needs Chubb and Cook to get hurt.
Oh yeah, because they're injury away. Yeah.
Right, like if Chubb and Cook get hurt, all of a sudden you're looking at this team and you're like, wowza, this team will be hard to deal with for 1 year, right? Also CEH, right? He's got Ronald Jones. Also Devin Singletary. He's got Zach Moss. He's got a lot of good injury away pieces to go with Connor and Fournette and the 2 stud older wide receivers. Like I would trade Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't myself.
I would trade Rondale Moore. There
are
teams out there that are in a position where they need to be hoping that the league stays open for 3 years.
And so Jeudy has a lot of value to them.
Titles.
Yeah.
They're not going to win 2 titles in the next 3 years, so they need the league to be open for 4 or 5 years, maybe even.
If you're Dream Destroyer, are you going for it then? Is what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Go get this title this year as much as you can, and then we'll just kind of deal with next year as it comes. It's kind of the way I would take a look at it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. And if I were a team down below the competitive window, this is the kind of team I'd be wanting to push assets into. Because to be quite frank, even if he wins the title this year and then Jalen Hurts loses his job, he's not in great shape for that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you could feed Dream Destroyer in an effort to hold off Electra Company and keep this thing going, and then also not feel long-term threatened by Dream Destroyer.
Right. Like I don't want to feed if I'm one of these other teams, I don't want to feed JCap too much.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like Dream Destroyer is another place to put your old players. Here, take 3-4 old players for some day 2 picks next year, right?
Yep.
That kind of thing. Yep.
Yeah, you could buy as 1-9 and 110. I mean, if I'm someone who's not competing this year, I want Jameson Williams, or I want a George Pickens or an Olave or maybe Kenny Pickett. I have no idea who 9 and 10 are going to be. It looks like I have a rookie mock brought up. The non-Malik quarterbacks are kind of just pooling up at the end of the first round right now in rookie drafts.
That doesn't mean anything until the landing spots go, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's because nobody knows who it's going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when one of those guys is a top 20 pick and the other guy is a second round pick, they're not going to pool up.
Yeah. So I have a question for you though. Right now here today, this is a little off topic, but if you're sitting there at the 103 in your rookie draft, pre-NFL draft, Malik and Brees are gone. Who are you taking? Would you take a QB? Would you take Walker? Would you take a receiver?
Walker.
Taking Walker.
I'm taking Walker.
Me too. 100%. I'm taking Walker.
100%.
Freaking love Kenneth Walker. He's awesome.
That's not because I don't know what the draft capital is going to be on these.
Yep. So right? Take safe RB. Mm-hmm.
It's what's safe, right? And the next guy for me is Garrett Wilson. That's
fair too.
He's the only guy I'm really confident will get high draft capital in the wide receiver class. Everything else is a little up in the air. And then the next guy is Drake London because he's the next guy I'm confident.
Yeah.
I don't draft rookie drafts generally before the NFL draft. I don't love that way of doing it.
Neither do I.
Precisely because I love draft capital. I want to know about the draft capital. It's one of my most important pieces. All right, so like, who do you have? What have we done? 6.
Yeah, we got 7 coming at you. This is a previous champion. I am the champion. Personally, I'm in a couple leagues with I am the champion. This guy's a great fantasy mind. He's always pushing to win. I've never seen this guy take a long-term build. He's going for it. He's trying to take a bite, and I love that. So I am the champion. Aaron Rodgers, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Devonta Smith, Tyler Lockett, Allen Robinson, Travis Kelce, Baker Mayfield, Dante Foreman, Alan Lazard, Ricky Seals-Jones, nobody in the taxi, and 2 middle first-round picks, the 105 and the 107. So I am the champion is a title away from closing this thing out, and I'm sure he knows it, and he's trying to go move those 2 picks or whatever to go get it done. If I'm the rest of the league, if I'm any of the other 11 members, I'm going to auto-decline anything I am the champion sends me.
Oh, I disagree completely.
Really? Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
I don't think he is enough of a contender. Like, if I am in a deep rebuild, I don't have a terrible problem like sending him my Mitch Trubisky for his Baker Mayfield and a thing.
Yeah.
Right, because he actually doesn't scare me. So I have him number 11.
He's a little scary with the tailbacks and the tailback settings. I had him lower, and then I really started looking at the settings harder, and I was like, Derrick Henry abuses these settings.
Can be a monster. Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler has a chance, but he doesn't have 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is he's only got 1 active QB. Yeah.
I mean, he's got Kelce. Like, also, his wide receivers are kind of terrible, honestly.
Yes.
Like, terrible.
Yes. He's got Devonta Smith and then a bunch of hope.
Allen Robinson, Tyler Lockett, withered on the vine here, T.Y. Hilton, Will Fuller, Alan Lazard. Like, this is trash at wide receiver, right? And so I'm willing to feed, if I am one of these other teams, I am willing to feed some pieces into I am the champion, because he doesn't scare me that much.
Yeah, and then maybe some people are more scared. Like, I could see myself completing a trade with Champion, sending him a good receiver, whatever, a Waddle or something, and then a different team, a third party saying, hey, we can't let that happen because he's so big, and then, countering me, counter rule, and giving me more than Champion offered. That could be an element at play here in the league, depending on how scared some of the league mates are.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If I were in this league, I wouldn't make any trades with the electric company unless I think he's making a dumb trade.
Yeah.
But I would consider making a deal with I am the champion. I think he's like the 5th favorite to 6th favorite, maybe even to win it this year. So I'm willing to feed certain things to him, like not great stuff, not great stuff. But if he wants to like take some rentals for a 2nd round pick. I'm all into that.
I have him ranked 7th. It's hard for me to imagine him missing the playoffs, though. I mean, in reality,
it's not for me, man. Like,
you think? Okay, he's adding these 2 top 7 picks too. He's going to add a receiver and a quarterback both there.
He's going to add rookie receivers don't play. He's going to I
mean, you get Drake London at 5, and then you give me a quarterback at 7.
I have no expectations that any of these rookie receivers are going to be different. Are going to be functional wide receiver 2s as rookies. I don't think this is my class.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you're cooler on it than I am. I'm more hot on these incoming rookies.
Let me put it this way: I have Devonta Smith as a prospect 12 months ago, higher than any wide receiver in this class.
Interesting, yeah.
And he was a wide receiver 3 last year. I think that's what you're getting, right? And hey, look, you got to start 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes. So I'm not saying you can't draft Drake London and start him.
Yeah.
I'm saying
he's not going to make a difference on your
whether you win or lose. Difference-making rookie. This is not Jamar Chase. No, that is my evaluation. So like I'm not scared of this team. That's the truth. But it's not hard to see how it happens, right? It's like Derrick Henry has a Derrick Henry season, has to be the foundation of it, right?
Yeah.
If Henry and Eckler are the 1-2, then you could happen. But like, there's not a lot Like he doesn't have pivot options.
Austin
He
Eckler
doesn't have
scored almost
any.
450 fantasy points in these settings last year. That's so
He
many
doesn't have
points.
any pivots though anywhere.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
He's got those two guys and Aaron Rodgers, and like I don't believe at all. Like I believe not at all in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Tony Pollard could get a big bump, right? Like there's the injury away guy he's got who could
Yeah.
really help him. I don't know, man. This team doesn't scare me.
No, I feel it. And Rodgers can get hurt. Like you're looking at a situation where I'm the champion might not have an active quarterback on his team. I mean, I'm sure he drafts one with 5 and 7. Maybe that guy's not the starter. Maybe Baker doesn't have a starting job
Does
yet,
he?
and then Rodgers get hurt. What's that?
I don't know, man. Does he like in this build? I'm not even sure he does.
What do you mean?
He might not. He might. Those might be just wide receivers in this build. Like,
What I'm saying is he might not have a like if Rodgers went down. There's a world where midseason
yeah,
I'm the champion has no quarterback. Is zero. Is blanking the quarterback position and is forced to make a move. And he's so top heavy that any move is going to be really challenging for him to make.
That's why to me,
Yeah.
I'd be looking to move Baker for like Jameis. Like, what do I have to give you with Baker to get Jameis? And if I'm one of these rebuilding teams, I'm like, sure, I will run the risk that you win the title this year with Jameis as your 2.
Yeah.
To get Baker and a second round pick.
All right.
Or something.
We're moving it along. No, you're good. We're gonna go to my number 8 team. This is the another team in tier 3. So it's Joshi or Jase.
Okay.
I don't know how you say it.
All right. Jashi.
Yeah. So Joshi.
That's how I have it. Jash like rhymes with dash.
Jash. Yeah, there you go. I have him 8. Where do you have him?
I'm 3. So this is our biggest disagreement.
Yes. So Herbert owner, Elijah Mitchell, T. Higgins, AJ Brown, Debo, Albert O, Tyler Higbee, Kenny G, Tannehill, Goff, Cedric Wilson, Deontay Harris, J.K. Dobbins, DJ Shark, Donovan Peoples-Jones, kind of a sleeper right now. Gabe Davis, him alone is probably what made you put Jay in the top 5, right? And no real relevant rookie picks. The 304, but kind of a whole lot of nothing there. Still owns all his 23s. Yeah, so Joshy, yeah, you go ahead.
So I just want last year, from week 11 to the end of the season, right? The running back 9 was Rashad Penny, 10 was Devin Singletary, 14 was Sony Michel, 19 was Devonta Freeman, 20 was Rex Burkhead, Cordero Patterson, Deontay Foreman, right? So this is the team that can win the title by finding those guys.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
So that's why I really
he's got
like
the receiver core and the quarterbacks to support that, where he's just a waiver piece away, a big time waiver piece away.
Yes, absolutely. This is the guy. I mean, and he's even got like guys like Cooks running through the bench, and Cedric Wilson's a guy I like down on the bench. Right? He's got nothing at running back. What he needs is okay, Dobbins and Mitchell have to be good enough, and then he has to hit a couple of those waiver pieces. If he can do those two things, if he gets that, this is a top shelf contender, right? I think this is the third most likely team to win the title, third or fourth, with who were we talking about just a minute ago? Dream Destroyer. To me, Dream Destroyer and Jashi are the next tier of year 1 contenders.
Yeah, that's a fair take. I guess I faded him because he, like you're saying, all he needs is those running backs away, and I always just kind of look at that as being, I don't really put any weight on that as far like being doable. Like I could see Mitchell getting usurped in the draft, Dobbins not being healthy or just losing his job, and then this guy literally has nothing. He has no running backs on his team effectively, and he has to start 3. He doesn't have any draft picks to acquire them, so like just with the settings in mind, it was hard for me to have him any higher than where I do. Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not afraid of trying to scrape, right? Like he's got to make. Yes, he has to acquire these guys, right? But like they are available. There are, without getting too deep down the, like I don't know what the currently available guys are, but like after the draft, right after the draft training camp will come around and like nobody will know what the pecking order is, right? And the pecking orders will all be changing. So, and you've got to scrape the waiver wire during training camp to get your set of injury away guys, right? And I think that's just super doable in a you know, in a league like this. Like Devonta Freeman is a free agent. Devonta Booker is a free agent in this league, right?
Yeah.
Brandon Bolden, Mark Ingram's an injury away guy, Rex Burkhead, right?
Yeah.
Like all of these guys are available for nothing and could be guys you want by the end, right? He's got to make the right moves there. But like, I would feel good playing this team. I see this team is the team. If I were taking over an orphan, and like my life depended on winning the title this year, this would be a team where I would feel like I saw the path.
Yeah, it's fair. You have high value receivers you can pivot off of. You could downgrade from like a Higgins into something and then gain, some of those running back pieces you're talking about. I see it. I like how he's punted tight end. He's only got Higbee and Alberto. I think he's playing the settings properly there. It's safe-ish at quarterback. I mean, is there a world where Jared Goff is the Lions starting quarterback in 2023? Is that a world, or do you think there's no chance of that?
I mean, certainly there's a world where he's somebody's starting quarterback.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I don't mind having, and I have become more willing to have just the two in a win when I'm in a win now window.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially if I'm deep at the wide receiver, and he's got I think a lot of opportunities to have a guy who he can plug, like Brandon Cooks, right? Like if Brandon Cooks is riding on your bench and you've got two quarterbacks you like, and it's like, okay, for your bye weeks, Brandon Cooks is your super. That's fine.
Any other notes with this guy? I think we kind of.
No, I just I don't know. I think this guy. I am betting that this guy is a player who, if I looked at all of his rosters, I would think he was good at Dynasty. This one made me happy.
Yeah, I'm going to say all 12 of these guys are good at Dynasty in this league. You're not playing in a league like this unless you feel confident about your ability. You're not spending this kind of money.
No, yeah.
If you're not good at Dynasty and you're in here with these guys, you're going to get tore apart. You're going to get slammed. But you're going to have a bad time because these are some dogs in here. I'm in a few leagues with most of these people, and these are good, knowledgeable players here.
Who's your number 9?
Number 9, closing out Tier 3, the four squad Tier 3 there, is the DK Knights, the Dark Knights. He is vengeance. Yep. So we got him 8 and 9. Yep. We got Zach Wilson, Saquon, Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson, Tyreek Hill, Hollywood Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Gesicki, Devontae Parker, Robbie Anderson, Tua, Danny Dimes. Not a whole lot on the bench. Tim Patrick, CJ Uzama, Marcus Callaway, Poopadoop. Nothing really in the taxi, and then the 108 Rook.
How do you feel about? Well, what is your overall evaluation first? I guess.
Yeah, I could totally see this team making the playoffs from where I have him as the 9th rank. Totally. Maybe I even have him too low. Honestly, maybe he should be at top of this tier and not the bottom of it. But big time variance, another big variance team. I mean, what is Cam Akers going to do? What's Gibson? And what are any of these tailbacks going to do? What's Zach going to do?
The variance here is at quarterback.
Yeah. It's across the whole team.
This could be a team that is entirely sunk by its quarterback play.
Yeah.
Or it could be a team that wins a title because it gets enough out of that position.
Sure. Yeah, and it doesn't need all of them to take a step forward. Between Zach and Wilson, only one of them really needs to have a QB1 caliber season.
And Wilson. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he needs Wilson to not be a disaster, right? Like, if Wilson takes a step back, then he's in a real pickle.
Yeah, he needs Wilson in the top 20, ideally.
Yeah.
And then, like, Tua as, like, a quarterback 13 or 11 or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, well, especially, though, here's the other thing. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Mike Gesicki, right? So Mike Gesicki is his starting tight end. And Tyreek Hill is his wide receiver 1, is clear wide receiver 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if Tua doesn't work, like if Tua doesn't work, this thing is a mess.
Yeah.
Right? Like if the Dolphins are going all in on Tua with Hill and with tagging Gesicki, and like Dark Knights is all the way in with that too, right? Like He if the Dolphins thing with McDaniels does not work, if McDaniels is getting fired in 2 years, this team will be a disaster.
Yeah, yep, I agree. If the Dolphins flake,
Yeah. But I like the other pieces. I like the running backs. You can imagine how Saquon, Gibson, and Akers happens to hit in the sort of way where it's a title-winning group. Hollywood and Ayuk and Parker is all pretty solid. The running back depth isn't there. I would definitely make a priority of adding guys like Jared Patterson and whoever the Giants decide, Matt Breida, right?
yeah.
Why is Jamal Agnew still on your roster and Matt Breida is probably a free agent?
Good question.
Like that's a move that needs to be made,
If
right? Because he did not have a fourth running back. So I like that McKissick is there.
if you're Dark Knights, are you trying to push a little more? Are you trying to pull back a little more? Or are you just sitting tight, just clenching it? What do you think?
I don't feel like I can make a decision until I see if Miami is good.
Yeah, in season type decision around the
Yes.
trade deadline. That's when you're
Yes,
saying
he's gonna have to.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to pivot one way or the other. He's gonna have to either, like, if Miami is bad, he needs to be moving Tyreek Hill and all these. Like, obviously Tyreek Hill will have much less value then, but like, he's got to see if the two experiment works, and if it doesn't, he's got to be moving Saquon. He's got to be moving right, like for, can you move Saquon for Isaiah Spiller and a 23-second, right? Like that kind of thing at the deadline. Whatever.
Yeah, I agree with all those takes. I mean, he's got room to add at tight end. Even if the Dolphins are good, there's not. Maybe Mike isn't that good. I mean, maybe I don't. I like him. Maybe I don't know. But that's somewhere he could improve if he wanted to. He could add to his flexes. He's got the 108 rookie. When your quarterbacks are Tua, Daniel Jones, and Zach Wilson, you probably just take a wide receiver at 108 and just kind of let it go. Don't try to get out ahead of it. Get a piece that might be able to help you, in my opinion.
Yeah,
That's how I would attack
and I'll say one other thing.
Yeah,
Daniel Jones is another one of these 1-year rentals who he could move on from, right?
Yeah.
Like the guys who are out there in the market for I am the champion, right? Like he's out there in the market for a Jameis or a Mariota. He's got to get a second quarterback. Put Daniel Jones in that, right? Like if he can get some capital for that, I don't mind.
Sure.
Right, because if Tua goes bad, then his whole season's going bad. So why not?
Yep.
And who's your 10?
Oh, tier 4. There's 3 teams in tier 4. We're gonna start off with the Hype Beast. The Hype Beast is our. He was a tanker from last year. No, he's just got a lot of picks. He's loaded on draft picks. He's got 6 second-round picks and the 1.4 for the Hype Beast. Mahomes, Dontrell Hilliard, and Mike Davis. Deontay Johnson, Mark Andrews, Gronkowski, Stafford, Odell, Antonio Brown. Pretty weak here. Kylan Granson, just throw his name out there. I like him, but he needs some help. He's got a crap ton of picks to fill out this roster, and just tough to know what to do if you're the Hype Beast. You got to be just wondering every single day, should I sell Mahomes? That's got to just be something you're thinking about with a roster like this, and try to get a bunch of pieces. But where are you at with the Hype Beast?
Well, I know. I mean, I think you're keeping Mahomes.
Okay.
And you're trying to sell Stafford.
Yeah.
And Andrew.
Yeah. I guess I'm just thinking because the highest value stuff. Like when you're this, like when you only have 2 or 3 guys that are such high value, and the whole rest of your team is basically dirt. No offense. You got to be thinking I want to break one of my high value assets down into multiple medium assets. That's what I'm always thinking about anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of that. Like the Hype Beast. Yeah, no. He's got to move. I got to get out of Stafford. To me.
Okay.
And Gronk, and I'm moving Stafford, Gronk, and Andrews. Right. Like I would love to pivot Andrews to Pitts and something, or I don't know if you get that. People may not be quite aware of the way the windows work. He's also got Deontay Johnson there, right? That's a great piece. So like Mahomes and Deontay Johnson are the pieces I'm keeping and building around.
Yeah.
And then Andrews, if I can get the right value for what is the number 1 tight end asset in this league, I would.
Andrews would be the number 1 thing I'm looking to sell with this team.
And Stafford, like if
Yes.
Stafford is a guy I like, I'm gonna go see if I can what can I get in the Trey Lance and something, or Justin Fields and something way of things.
Or maybe just some picks and take a quarterback at 104. He's got that 104 pick, so that might be a way to. You can't imagine you're a title contender this year in any world,
No,
if I'm him. So you got to be thinking longer. So you got to be thinking maybe I can get a 23 first plus a late first this year for Stafford or something like that. To one of the contenders and try to piece it together that way. It's
yep.
really tough
So
to see
another
a,
thing, I just
a
want
big path for him. Yeah.
this is a roster that has some good pieces, right? But the other
Yeah,
thing that it
certainly.
has is a lot of dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had teams in the past where I have gone into the season knowing I'm not going to win anything, and I say to myself, who are the players who have a chance to increase in value that I want to get now and then trade for a next year's second or third round pick in season, right? So with this roster, I would try to be collecting pieces that are going to have like short term value. Like Byron Pringle is exactly the kind of guy I would want to be adding, and then like trading
After he has a big game.
after he has
Yeah.
a good game in week 3,
Yeah, and
right? Because
he's
I think
getting a
he's going
bunch
to
of
start for
snaps and
Chicago.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally hear you.
right. So I'm scraping the wire with this team trying to add future value. Like Auden Tate is a guy he's got on his roster, right? Like I don't think Auden Tate is a long-term fantasy asset, but I also think he's the best wide receiver on Atlanta right now. So I'm adding him where I can. And like, even if I'm rebuilding, I will add him because I feel like he's going to be a flex fill-in for somebody this year, probably. And so once he proves that through September, then I'll be able to trade him for a lot more than I can acquire him for now. So that's an underrated piece of rebuilding when you've got like some really bad assets at the back of your roster, which he does.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Not a whole lot I can add. I mean, I might be looking to move off some. You have so many picks in this year's draft. I'd probably be looking to make some 2-for-1 type deals to go move up the rounds, maybe into the early second, or get a late first, convert some
Yeah.
of your late second, and try to just get just some more talent in this thing. Because you're going to struggle to roster a lot of these players. I don't know. There's 9 taxis in this league. We didn't mention that. 9 taxi slots, which is kind of wild, and it's 2-year eligibility for taxi. It's pretty good. And, next up, I'm going to keep it moving. Try not to dwell on the lower teams too much. Um, the 11th team, I have the Gambler. Uh, sorry, Gambler. He's a good guy. He's a real active player on Sleeper. The Gambler, Russell Wilson, Christian McCaffrey, Miles Sanders, Chase Edmonds, Chris Godwin, Mike Williams, Julio, Hunter Henry, Jamison Crowder, Kirk Cousins, Juju, Corey Davis on the bench, Hayden Hurst, Kenyon Drake, and 210, 303, the only relevant rookie picks for the Gambler. Yeah, I think you have some real core elements here. I mean, there's a chance a lot of your team outplays and you get into the playoffs, I suppose, if you can stay really healthy. But this is a
You
weaker
could
team
dream
without
on a
picks.
title. Yeah.
What's that?
You could even dream on a title run here.
Yeah, you could. You could. Of these
It
tier 4
starts with
teams, yeah.
McCaffrey. Yeah, it starts with McCaffrey being,
A McCaffrey
two,
season.
3 years
Yeah.
ago, McCaffrey. Right. Like if he
Yeah.
does that again and Miles Sanders plays 17 games, like, okay, I can see where this goes,
In this
but
league's settings, the 2019 version of McCaffrey scored 660 fantasy points.
right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, right. But then like,
It's
I don't
crazy.
know,
Yeah.
man. Like this team does not seem like this team feels like it's like one bit not good enough
Hmm.
and also too old and also short on picks. And it's kind of hard for me to see how he fixes this year.
Yeah, you look at, I mean, like Juju. Maybe you can get off Juju and get something. I don't know. I really don't even know what I'd do with this. I want to say you just kind of sit tight and maybe you just kind of stay healthy and make the playoffs. Maybe you
And
win
hope
a
you make a
title.
run.
Yeah, hopefully you just kind of naturally make a run with what you have here. And then if you don't, then you just flush next season and sell
Yeah,
out.
but like
But that's too
the
slow. I don't know what else you do. Yeah.
the flip side is Like, if you don't think you can win 2 titles with this roster,
Hmm.
is now the time to get off McCaffrey and Wilson and Cousins and get Young.
I probably never move off Russ, honestly, because like you said, this league's got 5 years left in it, and I think Russ has 5 good years left in him. And I just even if I was this team and I was selling, even if I was gambler, I probably keep Russ in every iteration,
All right.
just because the way that lines up. But yeah, I mean, sell McCaffrey, sell Sanders, sell Mike Williams, sell Godwin, sell Julio, sell Chase Edmonds, sell Hunter. You could sell a
Cousins.
lot. Yeah, Cousins. Maybe Russ and Juju would be like my two locked in holds, and
I
I
might
would
hold.
just
I'm probably holding Godwin.
okay, yeah.
No.
Hmm.
Well, no.
Well, with
If
Brady,
you're
maybe leaving.
selling,
It's
you
hard
want
to
to
say.
set.
Yeah,
You don't want to be sitting there without Brady
yeah,
next year. So no, yeah, you're moving him too.
yeah. Russ and Juju, I'd probably cling to. I like Hunter Henry. I think Hunter Henry's a pretty good value right now at the tight end spot as far as
Yeah, he's
dynasty
only
buys.
27.
Yeah, and you can get him in like the 15th round if you're doing a tight end premium startup.
Honestly, for the bigger tight ends, the sort of inline tight ends, not the move tight ends.
Hmm.
27 is like the entering prime. So
Yeah,
I don't hate that.
and I look at his stats. We're kind of digressing with Hunter Henry. Like going back to 2017, like he's only lowest he's ever finished is tight end 14. He's been a tight end one, a low end tight end one the last 3 years. He's been good. He's got a lot of touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a talented player, man. I think Hunter Henry's getting
Mm-hmm.
overfaded by the community, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Yeah, like if I could send out my 210 rookie for Hunter Henry and I need a tight end, I would love to do that right now.
Yep.
Something
Well,
like that.
hey, make those offers.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So if I'm the gambler, probably looking to because we don't know what to do. It probably is better just to sell, just to get out ahead of it, right? You'd rather be a year early than a year late.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to see how he makes one more run this year, but it is very hard for me to see how that team holds together for multiple seasons to win 2 titles.
Certainly.
And so, like, even if you win 1 title this year and then everything gets old on the vine and you don't get value trading out for it, how do you get back to a second title?
You just don't. Yeah, you just
before somebody else does.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, you don't. Right? Like, I think you have to make it. I think you have to rebuild right now, perfect, and hope to win in the 3rd and 4th years going forward.
I mean, you have to ask yourself: is McCaffrey going to have a better 22 or a better 23? It's a pretty clear answer to that, I think. Or whatever he's going to do is going to probably be this season. I don't know. I'm a bit of a McCaffrey hater right now. I'm not going to lie.
I'm out.
Yeah, same.
I own no shares.
Yep. It's fair. Maybe I wonder what you can even get for Julio. He's not even on a team. Probably got to wait for him to sign. Maybe you could trade him around the signing hype. Yeah.
All right, finish it out.
Finish it out. The commissioner is last. Sorry, Chewy. Chewy 55 is our final rated team here.
I have Chewy 9 actually.
Yeah, I could see that. I might be a little too low on him. He could make the playoffs.
I had
He's
the
got the
gambler
pieces.
12.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Maybe that's better too. Maybe that's more correct. But they're all kind of jumbled up. Tom Brady, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Zeke Elliott, DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, DK Metcalf, Waller, Robert Woods, Melvin Gordon, Jimmy G, Teddy Bridgewater, Jordan Love, Cam Newton, David Njoku, Cole Beasley, Olamide Zacchaeus, and no rookie picks at all other than the 6'10". So basically nothing there. And he's got no 23 picks either. Ugh, I didn't notice that. That's a challenge.
Yeah, so like I think Chewy is so far down the rabbit hole that he's got to go all in.
Yes.
There's no rebuilding.
I think he knows that too.
There's no rebuilding this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like he should be trading DK Metcalf for somebody older who doesn't have Drew Lock at quarterback.
Keenan Allen. That's the guy. He's my favorite, like middle older guy.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think he's on a team that's going to be trading him. But like you got to, right? But and also like this is a team like Chewy needs to get a second quarterback, right? Like so, if I have those low end quarterbacks, I'm like, okay, give me your what does he have though? Give me your 24 first. Or whatever for Jameis Winston or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you're him, you have to assume Brady's going to play another year. I would just cross my fingers Brady plays for 23 season and just expect that because you can't. Yep. It's play into your outs, and you don't have an out if he retires. So there's nothing you do about it.
No, and he doesn't have any outs to rebuild now.
Mm-hmm.
He's like he couldn't even get the picks he's traded away back for the pieces he's got.
Yes.
Right? Like Zeke is in the worth more on your roster than in the trades now area. Aaron Jones, Tom Brady, DeAndre Hopkins, like all 5 of those guys. I think that was 4.
I think
Waller,
Cooper's worth a lot
like
more on your roster right now. Probably
all of those guys.
yeah.
He's got so many guys who are worth more on your roster than on the trade market.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just got to go all in. And like this thing is going to be a disaster if he doesn't win 2 or see the league end before Brady goes away.
He needs Jimmy to land a starting job. That's what he needs. I mean, that's what he needs to have happen.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not. Not this year, anyway.
No, it's not. But like, okay, so for one of the teams that is not competitive and has a 1-year quarterback, like Daniel Jones, all right, like Jimmy Garoppolo and a thing for Daniel Jones. That's the kind of move we were talking about back. Whoever had Tua, Zach Wilson, and Daniel Jones, right? Like that is a strong medium term move for me.
Yeah.
Although then the subsequent question becomes like, what does Chewy have that he could give up to get anything?
Njoku. And Metcalf.
Love.
Those are about
Njoku
the 2.
And Love.
And Love.
Hamler.
Yeah. Hamler.
24 picks.
Can't get anything for Hamler. Maybe it's the case. Maybe you can get some for Hamler. I don't know. I'm not paying for Hamler.
No, he's just Metcalf.
Waller.
Metcalf.
Probably just want to get out from Waller.
He has to move DK Metcalf for an old wide receiver and a quarterback. That's what he has to do.
Is Waller worth more traded or on your team right now with the headaches?
On your team.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just got to ride this and hope for insane injury luck. There's nothing else.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all of our teams. This is a super fun league, and I'm definitely going to follow along and see what happens. See which of our 2 top contenders wins.
Yeah, I'm pulling for my boy JCap just because he paid for the video. Not gonna lie. But,
thank you, JCap.
Thanks, brother, man. It's awesome. It's the first cash I've ever received for content. You know, made me feel like a real pro. So thank you so much. Took a lot of time, you know, making these rankings. Didn't do this flippantly at all. Definitely was looking forward to doing this and wanted to do a good job with it, and both of us. Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, this is a really fun concept, and there are a lot of teams in some interesting spots here. You know, and I think the electric company is in some darn good shape right now. Yep, electric company and JCap.
Yeah, those are the 2.
Those are the 2.
Mm-hmm. Electric company knows what he's doing, no doubt. I've seen him in
Chewy.
a lot of leagues too. Most of these guys are in like 20 leagues, man. They're freaking dogs like I am, like you are, like we all are. If you're watching videos about fantasy in April.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, guys, almost an hour and a half. Thank you so much for sticking with it. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to break down a different one of your leagues, hit me up, man. We will do that. $20 JCap gave me to do this. Not that expensive at all, and just kind of looking to make a little extra scratch. Your boy Stosh just started a new job selling Toyotas and Volkswagens at my new dealer. So I don't have as much time on my hands, but the time I do have, I love to dedicate to fantasy. If you liked it, hit the sub button. Hit the like button. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. What do you think? Just let me know how you're feeling. Become a first round pick. Subscribe. And have a wonderful evening, all my friends out there.